Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jae Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Steve Diloia, the founder of Axiom Coaching. Steve brings over 25 years of experience in manufacturing with expertise in continuous improvement, lean manufacturing, and quality systems, backed by an engineering degree from the University at Buffalo and certifications like Six Sigma Black Belt. Based in Buffalo, New York, Axiom Coaching, founded to help small and medium-sized businesses achieve their goals, is transforming organizations through tailored consulting, leadership support, and workforce development. We'll be exploring his founding story, how his business empowers clients to overcome inefficiencies, and his vision for scaling this impact-driven venture. So let's dive right in. Steve, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. A pleasure to have you on the show today. Steven, walk us through the very beginning. For our listeners here, take us back. What specific problem in the business landscape really inspired you to start Axiom Coaching?
That would be leadership development and the desire to coach and kind of mentor leaders. So at the time, I was employed by another consulting firm and working for them, and they weren't giving me enough of an opportunity to provide that coaching opportunity. They had a couple of other coaches on staff, so they allowed them to handle more of the coaching. I went through all the training, the certification, and kind of wasn't getting my chance to do that. So I approached the president of the company and said, I'd like to start this side business, Axiom Coaching, focused on coaching while still working here. And we worked out a deal, and it kind of started from there. And then I left that consulting firm, and it has grown since then. But it really came from that desire to help leadership, entrepreneurs, to give them that sounding board, that mentor, that extra voice that they may need as they're going through their business problems or business strategies, growth, whatever may come up that leaders and entrepreneurs face. I wanted to be there to help them through that.
Beautiful. So with that being said, then walk us through here, Stephen, how Axiom Coaching's offerings have evolved since you first started. So from what you're providing for your clients to who you're serving, how's that continuously evolved to now?
So it's been a journey and evolution of the services. So we still offer a lot of the services that you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast here, the show, that we still offer your typical consulting services, manufacturing, lean manufacturing, or process improvement, more tactical side of things. And then in the mid-range, we offer that quality system implementation or other systems that may need to be implemented, safety systems, all sorts of different systems that may be involved with an organization. And then strategic planning, more on the strategic side, organizational transformation, leadership development, personnel or staff development, those types of things that may be more of on a strategic level. What has shifted though, and this is largely due to the pandemic, excuse me, that we've shifted in two ways. One, we are seeing more of our services being not just for small to medium-sized manufacturers, which used to be our bread and butter, but now we're getting into service and retail and consumer businesses that need some help or guidance or want to grow and aren't sure. And they don't have the systems in place. They don't have that kind of mentality that manufacturers do because they have a given manufacturing process that needs. And so some of these service, retail, consumer, they don't have that mentality of this is a process or this is a system and I need this to be in place for me to foundationally to grow off, to launch off of that basics. The other thing that's been shifted towards is we are offering a lot more fractional support. So we do fractional support for management. We also do engineering fractional support. And for I guess for listeners or who don't know fractional support, it's different than interim. Interim is you're there 50 hours a week, you're in that position almost full time until they hire somebody else. Fractional, which is a little bit less expensive for the business, is that you're there maybe once, twice a week instead of the 5 days a week. So you're providing more of a I'm coming in, I'm touching the base with the business owner or whatever, the management team, doing my management support, giving direction to the department that I may be leading or the people that I may leading. And then I go on to the next client the next day, always available though by email and phone. So we've been doing a lot of that support too. And I think it's because the labor just doesn't seem to be there, and especially the experienced labor. I have over 30 years of experience, and that people of that type of experience have just drifted out of the labor force. It seems like after the pandemic, they said, yeah, I don't need to go back to work. So we fill that gap and help organizations. And it's working out really well for small and medium-sized businesses because they're realizing they don't need to spend that kind of money. They don't need that salary. They can get that support and that experience and not spend the money that they would spend on a full-time person and salary person. It's been an interesting shift, and it's been a lot of fun, and it's been great to help organizations where, like I said, they may have never had a chief operating officer or somebody in that position, and to come in and help that small business and provide that experience. And again, they don't get hit with that cost of having somebody on staff the whole time.
Absolutely. So incredible what you're providing there. So obviously got a good understanding. You do that organizational transformation. You're providing that fractional support. You have that executive coaching aspect as well. So really good understanding of how you're generating revenue, what the core offer is there, especially for our listeners who can end up coming and working with you. So help us understand now, Steven, what's working best for you on the acquisition side of things? Is it that more referral side, word of mouth from your successes and your past clients, or is it more on that ads and social media, organic? What are you doing on that front to have acquisitions and new clients coming in?
A lot of it is referral and word of mouth. So in where we're located in Western New York, although we have done business across New York State, outside of New York State. So we do go beyond the Western New York kind of area. But what happens is the Western New York, as most communities and areas, they're not as big as you think. Everybody knows everybody because there's so many kind of networking type organizations or executive type organizations where business owners and CEOs and everything get together so that they can have a roundtable discussion. So they know, business owners know other business owners, either through business or through these organizations. And so I get referrals when I'm working with another client. They'll come up to me and say, I've got this friend, owns a small business. They need help. They were talking to me. Do you mind if I refer? And I'm like, no, go ahead. So a lot of it's through referrals. The other part of it is networking, especially through speaking engagements at some of these types of professional organizations. Get up there, give a good presentation about some topic that they're interested in, and I get people coming up. Can I have your card? We need to talk because what you talked about is what we're suffering through. Would like to talk to you more about it. And now also a little bit gaining some momentum on LinkedIn, but it's the first two. It's a lot of personal experience. And I think part of that is the manufacturing side. Manufacturers, for some reason, don't like social media. So that's where it seems the retail, the services, the consumer are coming from the LinkedIn. Still word of mouth, but the LinkedIn is helping with that. But when it's with the business, even I would say even outside of manufacturing, a lot of networking, a lot of word of mouth still. I wish it was as easy as social media because it would save me so much time.
Yes, it would. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, and that's the thing is that there's so many different avenues, but with what you're doing now, obviously still seeing success. A big thing that I will bring up though is obviously I speak to so many founders on the show, and a lot of them that are in similar shoes and similar spaces you are having success with referrals often tell me that they have a tough time with predictability on that front. So how do you tackle that challenge of predictable leads coming in? And are you exploring ads, or how do you think about scale when it comes to that?
Excuse me. To scale up currently right now is the other avenue that helps is through partnerships. leveraging some partnerships with either other consultants that don't do what I do, leveraging with financial consultants. I really don't get on the financial side and the accounting side. They don't get into my space. So by leveraging our partnership, we are a better service to a business because now we're more full service. They can provide the accounting side, I can provide more of the business side.
Yeah.
Same with marketing and sales. I don't do a lot of marketing and sales, so I can team up with those type of consultants. So that's another avenue, is aligning yourself with partners that kind of are in the same space, dealing with the same market, but not doing what you're doing. And again, as a consultant, you can find a lot of different consultants in different areas, especially social media, like web designers and everything that goes with social media, designing the platform, putting up the social media posts and keeping the social media active. Those type of consultants are very helpful to partner with because, again, we're not in the same space. I don't do that and they don't do what I do, but they do see a lot of the business because they have to learn about the business in order to market it properly and help them generate sales. So they get to see the dirty laundry, and then they come to me and say, "Hey, I've got this client I'd like you to meet. We've been talking about you." And then they marry us up together. And I do the same thing. If I go in and hear them talking about marketing issues, I'm like, I know somebody who can help you. So it's a kind of a benefit win-win that way of referrals. If you link up with somebody that has already established a relationship with the client, and they're referring you, so you're building off of that relationship. And it's the same as me doing it for the other partner. I have the relationship, they trust me, so they're leaning off of that trust and relationship that I have.
Yeah.
So scaling through partnerships has been a huge thing for Axiom Coaching.
Amazing. On that front, walk us through that sales process a bit. Is this something that you're running on your own on that side and just work with partners? I know you said you don't do a lot of the sales and marketing. So do you have a sales team, a marketing team, or do you just position yourself and take advantage of those partners you have? How does that look for the sales process side of things for you?
So I have a subcontractor. All of the people that work for me are subcontractors. That's the other thing. For scalability, it's easier to scale if you have like partnerships with other, or what I call subcontractors. So they're partnerships with other consultants that do what I do. They may be a little bit less experienced, so they aren't getting the business that they need. So I can feed them business and get me out of the business.
Right.
Instead of working in it, I can work on the business. So
Yeah.
that helps. But so I have a marketing director that is a subcontractor, and she's a consultant as well. So she's one of the partners where we pull each other into clients. And she does all my social media and all my marketing. Great person to work with. If anybody is looking for one, I'll give her a shout out. For
Yeah.
Christine Smith is her name. Prism Strategies is her marketing consulting. She does a great job and gives you a personal touch through emails, through text, and monthly meetings. So we plan it together, and she goes off and does it. And I don't have to worry about it. Now, the sales end of it is a little bit different. I do handle the sales. And the sales part of it is, and I think you have to as a consultant, or if you're in the business, even as a business owner, people want to talk with the business owner. They want to talk with the person who's in charge. They want to talk with the person who has the strategy and knowledge of the business. And it's the best thing I think that business owners can do, is get out there and sell their own business because they have the passion for the business. That passion comes through when you're talking to your customer or your client or whoever. So I go out on the sales calls and I do the scoping. That's what we call it, where we go in, I listen to, and I may bring, if I don't think I'm going to handle the work, I will bring in somebody who's going to do the work. So they know that I'm going to be there for support, but this is the person who's really going to be doing the work. But I listen to the customer, listen to the client, listen to what their needs are and what they're actually talking about. So they may think it's this problem, but through touring the facility, looking around, speaking to them, listening to what they're saying, it's like, you think it's that, but it's really probably this problem over here. So we have a discussion, come to an agreement that this is probably the solution. Then I will write up a full kind of contract proposal telling them these are the objectives, methodology we're going to use in order to fix the problem, what's my expectations of them, so what I need for them to support this kind of work, what they should expect from me. It's all laid out in front of them, so there's no surprises. They understand what they're getting into, and then that's the handover to them. And then sometimes there's some negotiation, some tweaking, and other times they just sign on the dotted line and we start working. I think the personal touch, the reason I like the personal touch is it's just so much more successful. I would say when I'm not involved in the sales call, it's probably a closure rate of around maybe 35, 40% when I'm on the call. I'm sorry, when I'm at the place or on the call or however we're managing it, because some of them are long distance and I actually do the consulting virtually, which has been an interesting shift too. I should have mentioned that. That's been a shift in things too, because some organizations are fully remote. So it's like, we
Yeah.
don't have any place to meet. So you're going to consult us virtually because we don't have an office. Okay, we can do that. However we do it. But when it's personal, the closure rate is about 90%.
Yep.
And that is significant. I even work with some other consulting firm that I used to work with. They send me some business. Sometimes I send them some business. Sometimes when their salesperson goes out on a call, because I've worked with them, they're my former, I know all the people, I know the employees. Me and the salesperson work really great together. So we go out on the sales call together. He's providing kind of some of their information. I'm providing the technical information and we work as a team. So I think that's also a good combination. If you're not good at sales, find somebody who is, so you can provide the company face and you
Yeah.
can have the salesperson who can help support you with that sales part of it that you may not be good with. Fortunately, I'm fairly good at it, but it always helps to have that extra person there with you to do the sales. But again, the face of the company should be there to bring that passion, to bring that understanding of how things are going to operate and what your company can do for your customer or your client.
Absolutely. I mean, with that, clear as day that you have so much passion for what you're doing, Steven, and it's really been a pleasure having you on the show. So I want to take us into a bit of a lightning round for our listeners before we wrap up. So quick 1 to 2 sentences, first thing that comes to mind for these questions. First one's going to be as far as a bottleneck. What is the biggest bottleneck that you think about right now to growth, whether that be lead generation, converting those leads into clients, delivering services with your current capacity? What does that look like?
Delivering services. It's
Yeah.
the capacity end of things. Just trying to find consultant partners that are at the same skill level as me so they can slide into what I can do with my type of years of experience. So finding that to help offload some of the workload. So again, I'm not working in the business. I'm also working on the business is one of the biggest bottlenecks. Luckily, right now, lead generation and sales doesn't seem to be a problem. So it's that the bottleneck is really the delivery of the services and trying to get over that hurdle, which everybody seems to have. Like I said, that's why my clients hire me as fractional. They can't find the people. I'm having trouble finding the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Next question for you here is just going to be on the vision side. So,
Sure.
real quick, what are you seeing top priorities wise for you as far as the next 6 to 12 months? What are you laser focused on?
So I would say there's a lot. So I would say, though, offering some online services for my clients so they have resources online, and then also tailoring it to more of a package deal where if you sign up to these resources and get availability through resources attached to that will also be access to myself or to one of the other consultants to help you so that if you're reading the resources and need to go in deeper or have questions about it, you can tap into our knowledge and experience as well. So I think the moving more to again, a virtual realm where they can access information online. And then if they need to, they can call up either by Zoom, phone, however they need it, and have the support from an actual consultant as well to give them personal guidance. I think that's where the future or the growth opportunity is, along with expanding into, like I said, the consumer, the service type areas as well, diversifying my market.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And then just to wrap us up here, last question for you for our listeners, and that's going to be on the advice side, Steven. What kind of advice can you give to our listeners tuning in right now, other founders and entrepreneurs, either just starting out or in the middle of their journey and want to see that success and have that drive that you have? What can you give them before you wrap up?
Number one, make a list of everything that you have to do for the business, and then check off the things that only you can do. So if only you can do them, you do those tasks, focus on those tasks. The other tasks you offload to someone else because they're a time suck. So that's why I brought on the marketing director. Doing social media and everything, again, not my forte, but also such a time suck of me and what I don't need to do that. There's other things that only I can do. Someone else can do that. So that's one of the biggest things I think most entrepreneurs and business leaders, they think they have to do everything. They have to have their hand in everything. You hire people and you empower them and trust them to do their job. If you can't trust them to do their job, why did you hire them in the first place? So either they're not a fit or you made a wrong hire, get rid of them, move on to somebody who's a better fit. And then the other side of this, I think, which is really big for entrepreneurs and people who are just starting up a business, set up procedures and policies. They're the foundation for growth. If you don't have them to start off with, they can always expand, they can always shift. But if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to grow as fast or have that solid foundation. Because as you bring more people on, how are you going to train them to what you're doing? Or how are they going to know what the systems are, or the process is, or how the business operates? So having those documented for the current state you're in, but it'll help with growth because now you can bring people on and just, here's all our procedures and policies. This is how we run things here. So I think those are some of the biggest things. And then always, I would say the third thing is focus on yourself as a leader. Become self-aware. What's your style? What's your methodology? What's your language? How are you as a leader? And if you can't do these things, if you aren't good at delegating, if you aren't good at procedure development and everything, find someone who is. Hire that person to help augment your leadership style. So if you're not good at conflict, find somebody who is good at conflict, or develop yourself to be better at conflict. But John Maxwell, great leadership guru, his statement is everything rises and falls on leadership. So success and failure of an organization, of a country, of a business, of anything rises and falls on leadership. So self-awareness as a leader is key to success. And with that self-awareness, be aware of what you can't do, what you're not supposed to do, and where you fall short, and fill those gaps with other people that can support and grow with you as you're growing.
I absolutely love that. And with that right there, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. Steven, just want to thank you again for coming on the show, sharing your incredible journey and insights with us. I know you're feeling a little under the weather, so truly appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight, an inside look at what you've done and how you've seen so much success. So it truly was a pleasure to have you on the show today. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Axiom Coaching at axiomcoaching.org to learn more about their transformative services, and follow Steven on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/n/SDIIOIA. For more resources and insights, visit closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we'll see you on the next one.